today, and thank you for joining us for our regularly scheduled Board of Commissions meeting. It is 12:03 p.m., May 27th, 2025. We're here at the GHURA main office in Senate. Thank you. All right, so we will begin with roll call. Commissioner Rice.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Duda.
Present.
Commissioner Torres.
Present.
And Chairman Rivera and Commissioner Corpus is excused. Thank you. Moving along, item number 2, board meetings and public announcements. First printing Monday, May 19th, 2025. Second printing Sunday, May 25th, 2025, which you can find in your packet. Okay. All right, those are good. We'll move on to item number 3. Approval of previous board minutes from April 22nd, 2025. Right? No, April. Yeah, April 22nd, 2025. Correct. Commissioner Sidney, anything want to point out? All right, if we don't have any questions or objections, could we get a motion on the floor to approve the previous board minutes?
I will make a motion to approve the board minute of April 22nd, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I get a second?
Second that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Go ahead and take a vote. Show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Previous board minutes have been approved. All right, moving along. Item number 4, intent to award IFB GHURA-25-004 security guard and roving service. Madam Director, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Nate. This intent of award, I'm sorry, we need to table this agenda item as the evaluation has not of the bid has not been completed yet. So if we table that item, please, until it's ready for the next meeting.
That's fine, Director. Thank you. We will go ahead and table off intent to award IFB GHURA-25-004 security guard and roving services until its evaluation is completed. Thank you. Okay, moving along. Number 2, intent of award, IFB GHURA -25-006, property boundaries for fence replacements and upgrades at AMP4. Madam Director.
And my apologies, we had hoped that this would also be ready for this meeting. However, it is not ready to be addressed at this meeting. So if we can please table the intent of award for IFB GHURA -25-006 until the next meeting.
Noted. Okay, this also will be tabled for our next meeting. Thank you, Madam Director. All right, moving along to intent of award, IFB GHURA -25-007, renovation of 8 public housing units at AMP2 and AMP3.
Thank you. Intent of award, IFB GHURA -25-007, renovation of 8 public housing units at AMP2 and AMP3. Bid opening for the subject project was held on April 9th, 2025 at 2:00 p.m. A total of 13 bidders registered for the bid and were given bid specifications, of which 2 submitted a bid. Listed below are the results of the bid submissions, which were opened and read out aloud publicly. Vendor number 1, OH Construction, submitted a bid bond of 15% of the total bid amount and was awarded for base bid items number 1 and number 2 for a total of $459,700. Vendor number 2 was Genesis Tech Corporation. They submitted a bid bond of 15% of the total bid amount, and their total amount for base bid items number 1 and 2 was at $484,000. The government estimate was $429,032.50. A breakdown of each item description was noted on the following pages, 2 and 3 of 15. And if we go back to page 4, which summarizes these bids, the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority's GHURA's mission is to provide affordable, decent, safe, and sanitary housing through the maintenance of our existing units to ensure that the facilities owned and managed by GHURA are safe and appealing to the residents. The property site managers have identified projects within their AMPs that require rehabilitation and/or upgrades not only to their public units, but the sites within their developments that are beyond the scope of maintenance repairs. Such projects include, but are not limited to, complete renovation of kitchens and bathrooms, electrical upgrade, plumbing, replacement of interior and exterior doors, and other substantial physical changes that requires upgrades to the units and the sites. In review of the bid results, OH Construction and Genesis Tech Corporation provided the lowest responsive and responsible bid. After further clarification, the committee members determined to proceed with the award of the project to OH Construction in the amount of $459,700 for bid items number 1 and 2. The following project timelines are: for bid item number 1, it's 120 consecutive calendar days at the cost of $216,200. And for bid item number 2, it's 160 consecutive calendar days at the cost of $243,400 with no option periods, and not to exceed the amount of $459,700. If you have any questions, we do have, I think, Tony Camacho present in the boardroom to answer them.
Thank you, Madam Director. Commissioners, any questions for Tony or Director? Yes, go ahead.
I know if I've asked this before, so I mean, it's just to check that. So the renovations nowadays, like for your door handles and your faucets and everything, that they're all like lever type, right?
Yes, sir.
Because like disabilities, right? People with disabilities and everything, those lever type, that's a standard nowadays.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Tony. Commissioner Jerry Rice. Okay. Okay. I'm not hearing or seeing any of it. Anything?
Oh, sorry,
No, no, you're good.
working my neck.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so with that being said, if there's no objections, there's no questions. Let's make a motion on the floor to approve incentive award. I have the GHURA 25007 renovation of 8 public housing units. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move to award the intent of award IFB GHURA -25.007 renovation of 8 public housing units at M 2 and 3 to Genesis Park. And not to exceed for base bid 1, not to exceed the amount of $216,200.
OH construction.
I'm sorry, OH construction. And base bid 2 in the amount of $243,500. Total project amount would be $459,700.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I get a second? Thank you, Commissioner. All right, with that being said, may I show of hands, take a vote on it? 4. Thank you. Motion is approved. All right, moving along. Number 4, resolution number FY 2025-024. This is a resolution approving community development block grant disaster recovery citizen participation plan. Madam Director, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Resolution approving the 2025 Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Citizen Participation Plan, CDBG-DR CPP. Whereas pursuant to Title 12 Guam Code Annotated Section 5104, the Board of Commissioners of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, GHURA or Authority, is given the right and responsibility to govern and control the operations of the authority and to establish policies for its day-to-day operations and generally to undertake its responsibilities as prevailing authority for GHURA. And whereas pursuant to Title 12 Guam Code Annotated Section 5105B, it requires that GHURA comply with any federal rules, requirements, regulations, or procedures and may execute declarations or other agreements or documents of every nature as may be necessary or required by the federal government and to fully comply with any conditions imposed by the federal government upon participation by GHURA in such programs. And whereas on January 21st, 2025, Guam was allocated the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery, or CDBG-DR, in the amount of $500,825,000 to aid in the long-term recovery from the widespread devastation to Guam caused by Typhoon Mawar in May 2023, and the mitigation of future disasters to be administered by GHURA. And whereas pursuant to IC2 of the Universal Notice 90 FR 4759, GHURA is required to follow a detailed citizen participation plan that satisfies requirements of 24 CFR 91.115 or 91.105, except as provided for in notices providing waivers and alternative requirements. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners approved the 2025 Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Citizen Participation Plan, or CDBG-DR CPP, appended herewith and shall be effective immediately. And there, included in your packet is the CDBG-DR Citizen Participation Plan. And our Deputy Director is present to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Madam Director. And thank you, Dee Dee, for taking up such a gauntlet of a project. How are you holding up?
One day at a time.
Yeah. Good. Good, good. So just to give us the Cliff Notes approach to the Community Development Block Development Grant, this citizen participation plan, can you sum it up in the shortest way possible?
Yep, so as a requirement, like with entitlement, the same requirements there for citizen participation. However, with DR, there are some differences, some certain requirements that are either waived or provide an alternative requirement. Initially, we're considering, do we amend our overall, because you could have a citizen participation plan and put in one policy, but time's kind of short.
Sure.
So we're exercising the option to have one specific for DR. That doesn't mean we can't. We may not go back and try to combine it. The main thing is, how are we going to consult the citizens, right? How do we engage the public? So this has been, we've been consistent with the requirements, and we're just formalizing the policy, which will carry us throughout the rest of the grant. So how do we engage with stakeholders? How do we hold public engagements? How do we deal with folks who have disabilities or limited English proficiency? We provide those requirements. We actually, a lot of this was taken out of the action plan. So we're just memorializing it on the things we're going to be held to. One important thing is the difference between a substantial amendment and non-substantial amendment, and being transparent and letting people know when that trigger is, right?
Sure.
So because of substantial amendment will require a 30-day public comment period again, or notice, and approval by HUD. So, we want to set that threshold at something reasonable to still allow, the grant to keep moving forward,
right,
and allow small tweaks to be made, but not so unreasonable that large swaths of money could be moved without the public input.
Sure.
Yeah. Kind of sums it up.
Transparency and communication basically is all.
Absolutely.
What we're saying.
Complaint processes and procedures, how we consider public comments.
Inclusion and integration.
Correct.
Right. Okay, perfect.
So this will be published on our website, on our DDO website.
Wonderful. I wanted the public to know that straight from the DD's mouth, how this translates into their participation as well. And, what this means moving forward. Absolute transparency, integration, inclusion, and definitely the input from the public sector is from not just private, but from our citizens as well. Their feedback is equally as important.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that we would notice? I know I asked you this the prior board meeting. Is there anything currently that you would need from the board to continue to assist you in any way, shape, or form?
We have some things coming up. I'm happy to discuss in the general discussion,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, maybe after we dispose of the
After this,
resolution. Yeah,
Yes.
happy to provide any update.
okay, perfect. Commissioners, any other questions or anything you want to bring up to our DD or our director?
In light of already you started the project, how's the feedback coming from the public? And do you have your team ready to collate and make the reports to meet the timeline? Or
Absolutely. I think sorry, Madam Commissioner, I think with respect to the motion,
After,
maybe I'll happy to, I mean, with the camera will still be recording, but that way we don't.
we'll just put it under general discussion.
Yeah, or under, maybe with the executive director's reports and updates.
Okay.
Just so we're
Procedurally speaking.
procedurally, would be my recommendation, but I'm happy to answer if you'd like to.
No, we'll save it until we get to that part. Yeah. Procedurally, speaking,
Yeah, procedurally speaking.
so that we are in compliance. Yeah, thank you. Commissioners, anything else? Sorry, we're just so excited.
Excited to share.
Yeah,
But this will be on the website too again.
Correct.
Everything.
It's actually incorporated, most of it is actually incorporated in the action plan itself as well, so, you know, a lot of redundancy.
If there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Resolution FY 2025-024. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve, the resolution approving the 2025 Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Citizen Participation Plan.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just go ahead and take a vote to approve this. Show of hands. Four. Thank you. Motion is officially approved. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Madam Director. Okay, moving along. Item number 5. This is the Executive Director's report. Project updates.
Hi, as of today, I don't have anything to report. I'm saving it for the July meeting. Unless the deputy director wants to share more about where we're at in the phase of the CDBG DR, and he had several public hearings recently.
Yep, absolutely. So if I could address, I think the vice chairman had
Well, you can
questions first. Well, generally speaking, so we published the action plan on May 1, which was a lot to get that thing out there within that timeline. So the public comment period's opened. It closes on June 2nd. After that, we'll collate the comments and prepare a summary response as required. That will all be published in the final action plan we submit to HUD. We're on target to submit to HUD probably earlier than the deadline, which is June 20th. So right now, while there is the option to ask for an extension on the submission, we're not thinking we need it.
Sure.
So we're definitely moving the pace we need to. In terms of operations, we have procurement is going to go out for space to house the staff. So we're trying to align the onboarding. We still have active interviews going on. We had, well over 100 applicants for various positions. We're making sure everyone has an opportunity to interview in that cycle. So we're going through with that. We're trying to time the onboarding with the location, right? So, we don't have people, ready to come to work and nothing to do with no place to be. So we want to kind of make sure all of that meets at the same time. So far, so good. In terms, so it's staffing wise, we're looking good on the program side, which is, this is going to be very program heavy, not just on the onset and the development, but also running it and then executing and compliance management. After discussing with the staff, now that we have an action plan published and we kind of know the general direction where we're going to be going, we're thinking now we may need some more staffing, mostly in we've kind of prioritized on the program side, but we're thinking we may need some more staff to assist kind of on the front of the house stuff, right? So more community program aides that will, assist, that could go out, assist with applications, do outreaches, right? For, if there's going to be answered questions, things like that. So that's where we're thinking we're gonna probably need some more people for that.
I would think also on the accounting side, because this is such a huge budget that you have to manage. And I do remember that you were gonna use internal staff, right, for that, but I would think it's a heavier burden in addition to all the other programs that we run. And I was just thinking about that because, coming from a federal program also and just managing the budget and the reports, I feel like that's heavy on the accounting side too.
Yeah, so we built in the original 40, we already built in 5 accounting positions total, but that'll also be paired with the grant management software we're pursuing, which is going to help. They have some specifically for CDBG, CDBGDR, so we're pursuing that. So those two things together are going to, simplify that.
Yes.
So definitely on that. Now, some of the accountants, it's gonna be based on the phases, right? So a lot of the community program aids, we're not gonna need right now. Right now, it's very program heavy, right? And we'll be leaning to that hiring. But we wanna kind of get a jump start on that, so that when we're ready, they'll be prepared.
There you go.
The accounting, for example, we have,
Second.
we're gonna be getting some on board, but we don't need all 5 right
Correct.
now either, so we're kind of pacing that out as we're anticipating that need. So until we start spending money, which won't be until next year, when we're
Yeah.
really gonna start seeing those drawdowns and
Okay.
expenditures happen. And subsequent year, so we're tracking
Okay.
that, so we're still in phase 1.
Yeah.
Just to recap. Once HUD approves the action plan, we enter into phase 2. That's where HUD is going to evaluate our financial capacity, our ability to manage the grant. They're going to look at our system, our organization, our structure, start looking at our policies, things like this, like a CPP, our finance policies. Fortunately, we have a lot of policies that exist that are already consistent. We're still in the process of reviewing that to see if we need to make an alternative policy or make amendments and then come back before the board, because those are policy matters. So the idea is to get to through phase 2 as quickly as possible. I have a very aggressive timeline to do that within a month. Kind of tracking for August. And if we could do that kind of backwards planning, we're looking at the anniversary of this grant to start launching programs in January. So it's a very aggressive timeline for this grant, but we want to try to make it.
I'm sorry, so just going back to like the public comments. So when you guys gather that, would that have any impact or would there be any changes to this plan?
Not the citizen participation plan. Depending on the comments that come in, we could consider if they'll have any impact on the action plan itself.
Okay.
But thus far, the comments we've received are pretty consistent with the kind of unmet needs assessment and the public engagements we did earlier. So I think a lot of it was around homeowner rehabilitation, need to rehab or build additional public facilities. Yeah, so pretty consistent. So at this point, especially concluding, we're still open for public comment, but at this point, nothing substantial that's making it seem like we'll need to adjust the action plan. A couple of typos caught, after the fact, but that's kind of what this process is for, to fine tune for the final submission.
So nothing really major at all.
Nothing that we're anticipating.
Okay.
I hope that answered all your questions.
Yes, thank you, Didi. I appreciate it.
But yeah, we will be coming back to the board. We're anticipating for additional FTEs for those positions.
Right. Policy wise.
Yeah, and we'll show you what the staffing pattern is looking like. So it's now that we have an action plan and we know, how we're gonna execute. Now we can kind of form the in greater detail, right? What is going to what and what are they gonna be doing?
Right. We're just
By the numbers. Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have like an organizational chart?
We have a draft,
Right.
and so we'll provide that. Yeah. Yeah, part of it was, again, we wanted to get the action plan out there, kind of see,
Yeah.
right? If there was gonna be a big change, it could change how the organization was gonna look based on what we would be administering, right? Developing and administering. Now that it's looking like it's gonna be pretty consistent, we feel better about the organizational chart, but we could shoot you the draft. Yeah.
Thank you, Didi. Yes, please. All right, commissioners, anything else you want to add? Okay. Any questions for Madam Director? No? Okay. All right, perfect. Oh,
Nothing from me.
okay.
Thank you very much, Deputy Director.
All right,
Thank
Didi,
you.
thank you for everything that you're doing. As always, if you need anything, just let us know.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
moving along, item number 6, general discussion and announcements. Our next proposed scheduled board meeting will be Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. Set your calendars tentatively, and of course, we will always notify all our commissioners to confirm. If there isn't anything else, may I get a motion on the floor to adjourn our meeting today?
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner. Second,
Second.
second. All right, thank you. We are adjourned.
Huh?
12:33, excuse me.
Busy, but it's good.
We are.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
a weird